Welcome back to Bacon Pancast featuring Jake's Meatloaf. It's an Adventure Time podcast and we're Jake's Meatloaf. I'm Tulip.
I'm Nick.
I'm Chan.
I'm Tipsy.
We did it in order.
And we support the strikes and we don't endorse any streaming service for any reason. These were really good episodes, you guys.
They were really good episodes. They were so good. Like, Adventure Time, I always like, these next episodes going to be good. I don't think so. And then Adam Muto always pulls it off. He's so good. And so are all of the people that work as the storyboarders and stuff. These two are wonderful.
Bro, I saw, so Tipsy goes, so those new episodes in the chat, and I was like, she fucking hated them. I was like, oh man, I thought they were good. I don't know why I took that so negatively.
I just was trying not to say anything because I didn't know if you'd seen them.
Well, no, it's so funny is that, I guess I needed to brush up on my lore, but I was like, wait a minute, I'm confused. Why is Icefin here? I thought he was cured in crossover. Was that an alternate reality? And then it took me like an entire day to be like, that was a fucking flashback, wasn't it? Oh god. So the second watch, when I did realize that, I was like, oh, this all makes so much more sense now. Oh,
they just like the design so much they had to use it again, even if it was for like 2 seconds there.
It was so, oh my god, it was so fun. I love that. The whole world was super fun. I love it. I have so many notes today. I really hope some of them are vague, and I'm like, I'll know what that means.
I know, me too. Like, I have like kind of a lot to say about these ones. I think we should try going like kind of in order, like we did last time. Like,
yeah, it helps me definitely to do it in order.
Maybe I should start taking notes again. I haven't done that since we started our Distant Lands podcast back in 2020.
It's just I
haven't in the last couple episodes, but these ones, man.
The first episode, after we recorded, I realized there was so much more that I wanted to mention that I forgot. So I was like, I will not let this happen again. So now we're back.
I watched these episodes at 2 a.m. before I went to bed, so I didn't write notes.
Yeah, trying to think, because we're starting with Simon pacing aggressively in a cornfield.
Yeah, he's just talking about how becoming Ice King again is a good idea, and Fionna and Cake are like, yeah, that's a good idea, wrongly.
No downsides.
Yeah, no sympathy at all.
I just gotta throw this out there before I forget, is that Cake has been so funny. I don't know, I mean, obviously Cake is just Jake but Cat, but I'm like, she's been good. I love her.
And Fionna fell asleep, like, instantly, which my first watch, I thought that was, like, kind of strange, but then my second time through, I remembered, oh yeah, she stayed up all night in the first episode and hasn't got any sleep since then, so that makes perfect sense.
Oh, I didn't think about that,
I'm glad she got some rest.
Yeah, I was like, why did that just, is that just her being quirky?
It's also possible that it's not just... I mean, that's what I thought when I saw it, but I think it's also possible that it's not just the fact that she hasn't had enough sleep, so if it happens again, then we'll know for sure.
What? You have a theory?
I'm pretty sure she was just sleep deprived.
Do you have a theory about her sleep deprivation?
Well, yeah, because you saw the other bad stuff happening, like at the end of the second episode, so maybe it's connected. Maybe she's drained from being in this magical multiverse.
I'm gonna, I'll be really impressed if you're right, and I'll apologize to you in a future episode. But right now, I'm like, yeah, okay.
But then she woke up and Cake got her something to eat.
Oh yeah, the rat.
That's a reference to one of the original Fionna and Cake comics by Natasha Allegri, which is just Cake collecting a bunch of dead animals.
I remember that.
I remember that. Yeah.
I remember that joke happened in the show, and I was like, why is there, something in my brain being scratched right now?
Yeah. Happy birthday, Fionna.
I love her line. She's like, you like this.
Okay, I didn't know that at all. That's very cool. I saw that, and I kind of thought, I feel like it's, kind of strange that they're still doing house cat jokes with Cake after she became anthropomorphic. But that's just this version of the character, I guess.
don't think it's strange at all. It's she is a house cat, and secondly, Cake's entire deal is house cat jokes. Again, in the original comics, the joke is Cake's a cat, and not a dog.
Cat people love the same jokes over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
And Nick, you know that You're the only one here who doesn't have cats.
Exactly.
I'm sorry about that.
And also, my dogs are barking in the background, so it all adds up. There's irony here.
It's still so weird to me, like, Fiona being like, I've played so many post-apocalyptic RPGs. I'm like, it's so weird to hear that in this show. But
it kind of implies what Finn would be doing in the real world as well. Like, if they didn't live in a post-apocalyptic world, they'd be probably playing a bunch of roguelikes and Fallout and stuff like that.
What do you think Finn's favorite game would be, like, of all time?
Oh god, he would love Baldur's Gate.
Oh, he probably would.
And Diablo, and he'd love Diablo. He'd probably even love Diablo 4 and Diablo Immortal.
Do you think that he'd be one of those people that plays Skyrim for like 15 years?
Yes.
And he thinks so? I was like, yeah, I feel like Finn would like Skyrim, honestly.
No question.
The thing is, they're definitely right, but it's funny because, like, in season 1, Finn was like, who plays games?
What does he say that for turbo nerds? Wait, what did he specifically say that to? Because I feel like he always played BMO. I guess BMO was more like a season 2 thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
But no, it was in the, like, Knife Storm episode about Jake using his imagination.
No, imagination is for turbo nerds. Video games aren't for turbo nerds. PB's the one who doesn't like video games.
Imagination's for turbo nerds who can't handle how kick butt reality is.
Yeah, so early Finn wouldn't play D&D because he could just go outside and have a D&D adventure. I'm pretty sure end of series Finn would love D&D.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. I want them to play D&D together. I know we're totally off topic, but I need to talk about this. Who would be their DM? Would it be Marceline?
Imagine
PB?
Princess Bubblegum.
You think it would be PB? I feel like...
I feel like there's
guess,
evidence. Yeah. I feel like there's evidence for it being PB within this episode, Bash.
Yes, exactly.
What am I forgetting?
I'm not gonna. I'm a bit worried about jumping straight to the end of the second episode.
Just remember to talk about it later.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not doing that yet. So like, I'm glad Prismo's not dead, but he's trapped in a cube.
Oh yeah, I wrote that down. Prismo trapped in cube ? It's just like, oh.
It's
so,
ironic because he's always surrounded by cubes and makes so many cubes.
It's interesting. That means like he can't be put in a capsule because he doesn't have like a physical. Well, it's
he does.
Could you put? Yeah, I was gonna say, could you put the old man in a capsule? It's kind of weird. Like I'm like, couldn't Scarab technically just like take the man? Maybe that's how he did it. I don't know. I
mean, he may have already done that, but just because he's in a capsule doesn't mean he's not still asleep.
I mean, he probably like isn't supposed to. So like that's just stopping the dream form's the most he can do now until his boss says that he can take over as the Wishmaster.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't even know how that's going to go.
But then what was he doing to the TV wall?
Milking it.
He was doing the same thing that Simon did. So if you remember the scene where Simon and Cake are talking to each other as Fiona wakes up, Simon is tearing apart a TV controller, and it looks exactly the same as the TV does when Prismo removes it from the wall. So he's using that. It's like opening up a TV and applying pressure to the current to make it change colours.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I believe you.
Yeah.
Maybe he just took some of that goo out and put it inside his little crystal, and that makes it work like the remote, which also has goo in it.
Yeah, I don't know how he's continuing to travel when he's already in a multiverse. Like, he hasn't got access to the TV at that point.
Oh, that's true. He might have actually taken... Yeah. I didn't think about that. I thought he was just messing with it.
He just got a little bit of goo and put it in a second TV remote.
He's magic. It's fine. Yeah, this is the inner workings.
He got a remote controller from IKEA.
Yeah.
So Destiny, I don't know what to call it other than like Destiny City or something. Was there an official name for their town that anyone noticed?
No.
Oh, well, that's what I'm going to call it. But as usual, like Adventure Time always does like these pan shots sometimes that just like show whatever's going on. And it's always so captivating. Like just like the tires thing, then the guy like drops a cinder block on him, steals a tire, puts that on a car, and the car then rides off it to be the wheel of a bigger car. I'm like, what is happening?
It reminded me of the Nightosphere or the City of Thieves.
Yeah, for sure. It reminded me of the Nightosphere shot. That like crazy long pan in the Nightosphere they did that one time.
My thing with this setting that I really like is that it's so weird, and it's even comparable to like the future human society, but like grungier and weirder. And I mean, the thing with me, it's not really done anymore, but there was a period of time like after that Mad Max Fury Road movie came out that like every single fucking thing ever made had like a Mad Max episode, and that was always really kind of boring because they were samey. But this is really like Adventure Time-ified.
I didn't think about that, but you're definitely right on that. Yeah.
And I mean, it's been so many years since that's been a trend anyway, so.
I love the aesthetic. It definitely feels... I've never seen any Mad Max, but it definitely feels with that vibe. And, like, I loved the music in this scene. The work by Amanda Jones is brilliant. This music made me think of Cyberpunk 2077 in, like, when you enter a new city and it's the build-up before a big gunfight. That's what it felt like. It was so good.
Yeah, I mean, all the music's been, like, fantastic in the miniseries so far. I'm very excited about that.
Not counting the next episode, like, animation's been crazy, too. Like, I don't even think it's really that different, but there's something about it that seems like it's so much more quality. But it's always been, like, the quality never went down.
It's like the SpongeBob versus SpongeBob movie animation for me, where it's like, okay, I can tell this is better.
There's just more going on. Like, if you look at the end of Adventure Time, you tended to have a lot of episodes where the characters were just, like, standing there. Not much was happening to them. There's way more action in these episodes. The characters are moving around more, and they're expressing more. That's why you can see a notable improvement of quality. I wish I remembered the names of the people who storyboarded these ones. It's hard to tell the relationship between storyboarding, animation, and all that with these specials, but I think they're still mostly storyboard driven. I think there's a much stricter script than with the normal episodes of Adventure Time, but otherwise, all of the gestures and stuff are the work of storyboarders.
Or if you want to know the names, we can just look them up real quick.
Yeah, let's do that. Destiny, written and storyboarded by Anna Sigurdsson and Hannah K. Nystrom, Sonja von Marensdorf, and Jacob Winkler. So those first two names, we know them.
Yeah.
Anna and Hannah both worked on Distant Lands, and Hannah's a long-time storyboarder. Sonja and Jacob are new.
I think it's Sonia, maybe. I'm guessing.
Isn't she an older artist? I thought she was on it already.
No.
Yeah, so anyway, we're in Destiny Gang territory.
Yeah.
Clap for transgender Tromo. Who knows here knows what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh, I saw that post last night. Like, diversity win. This random character from the Destiny Gang is trans. It's like...
Yeah, one of the Destiny Gang characters, like, didn't have boobs before, but does now.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that until now.
Imagine getting top surgery in Farmworld.
That would be...
Where do you go?
That would be dangerous.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, I mean, we may return to that topic in a few minutes.
So... we get, trying to chronologically. The characters arrive in the farm market. They get burnt by Choose Goose, in which Cake fights back using her stretchy powers. They run away and try to hide the stretchy powers, wherein you get some nice little banter between Simon, Fiona, and Cake. But they're spotted by none other than Jay Mertens.
Yeah, when we first saw Jay, like, sneaking out of the library, I thought for sure they were going to be Finn's little sibling.
I thought, because they're the correct age. They're the correct age. Where is Finn's little sibling?
Wait, is that not the implication?
No, they literally say outright that Jay is
Oh wait,
his
that's
son.
their duh. Wait, never mind. Sorry. Yeah. I also thought that though, and then my brain stopped thinking after that. Apparently.
Before I watched the episode, I saw that he had kids, so I was like, oh god damn it. No more social media.
Yeah, but no, it's Jay Mertens, one of Finn's, like, 5 or 6 kids, apparently.
5 kids. 5 kids, Finn fucks, I guess.
It's interesting to me that they, I guess, like, I don't know the inner workings of child voice acting, but it's like, I feel like with little girls, they always, like, get, like, age-appropriate people, and then boys, they get an adult pretending to be a little boy. And I'm like, is it harder to find dudes or something in that field?
Well, yeah, they chose a specific voice actor for Jay, but there might be another reason for that.
Yeah.
They
did. I mean, they did a great job. I'm just
no,
curious.
it's just like there's there's a scene at the end of the episode where Jay rips off his shirt and there's like a vest underneath.
Yes.
And fans decided that could be a binder.
Yes, that's what I was going to mention later too.
It's impossible to tell if Jay is trans, but if Jay is trans, that could explain why they didn't get a cisgender 12-year-old boy to voice him.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And okay, I'll talk about this now then. I feel like Finn's Farmworld kids being named Jay and Bonnie is a little odd, especially Jay and Jake coexisting in the same time period, because the implication there in Puhoi was that he was naming the kids after people he knew, but he like kind of forgot them. Like he didn't totally remember what Jake's name was.
It is weird, but I'm pretty sure it's just there for like the reference.
I mean, yeah, obviously. It's a reference for fans to catch, which is awesome, and I love it. But the thing is, if Jay is transgender, then that means he chose his own name, and that solves all the problems.
And he loves his dog enough. He borrowed it from the dog.
Yes!
I'm looking at Pahoy on the wiki right now because I wanted to see the names. Apparently, Imaginary Jake has his own article.
What? Farmworld Jake is still alive! Our Finn's Jake is dead!
I know, how is he okay?
I didn't even think of that. How did I not think of that?
Farmworld Jake is like 29 years old.
Oh yeah, how did that end in crossover? Did he de-lich and he was just a happy dog again?
Yeah, somehow
so,
cutting off the Lich's hand didn't cut off Jake's hand. So I guess that you can cut off Jake's hand and he'll be fine.
I mean, technically, if you cut off Jake's hand, he could just stretch another hand out and pretend it was his original hand.
This is a normal dog, Jake.
Oh, dang it. This multiverse. Curse you, multiverse.
But, maybe because he had the Lich in him once, he has, like, a little bit of magic and, like, lives longer.
That'd be a funny, like, little Easter egg in the episode, actually. But, yeah, that's my new headcanon.
He was sure. His skin was so old that when Cake put her paw on him, the paw print never disappeared.
Something that I love about the multiverse stuff is it really, like, gives you a lot of, like, speculation that you can do to, like, the actual universe just by giving you these little... You're like, oh, Finn grows up and has a bunch of kids, and then one of his kids happens to have, like, Huntress Wizard eyes. Huh, interesting.
Not only eyes, but also the same hair color as Hunter Wizard had in the first episode.
Yeah, and it's, like, fun, because it's, like, this is probably what happened.
Yeah, which has people online saying, maybe Huntress Wizard was the mom of Finn's kids. I think that's a pretty clear indication that Huntress Wizard was probably the mom of that kid, but not all of them. I suspect human Roslinen was still the mom of Jay and Bonnie.
I think it's way funnier if Finn is just an epic divorce man and one of his wives died and the others just left him.
Yeah.
That would explain why he's like that.
God, I love that first, like, when you went up to him and they thought he was Simon. They're like, what did they say? Like, oh, Simon, Farmworld Simon looks
Apocalypse,
weird.
he was jacked.
He's jacked, yeah.
And then Simon's like, no, that's Finn. It's Farmworld you, which is interesting because all Finns are Fionna, in a sense.
Yeah. I love Jeremy's, like, voice acting for the character, too.
Yeah.
Like, he just...
I know, I almost expected them to get the Pahoy adult Finn guy back, just to, like, have that connection. But it was funny that it was just Jeremy again.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, because we were talking about, like, theories and connections and stuff, I find it so interesting that this episode requires, like, an insane amount of context. but you could also probably not see any of those Farmworld episodes, and you would just be like, okay, it's another dimension and everything's weird.
Yeah, actually, I saw a Tumblr post where someone was saying that they're watching Adventure Time, like, concurrently with Fiona and Cake, and they said, well, it's so funny watching this episode and thinking that, you know, the Apocalypse World is just, you know, some other universe, and then finding out that it's actually from Adventure Time.
Yeah, like, I there's so much... Because even, like, the crown being destroyed, it's like, if you're just watching and you didn't see crossover, you could just be like, oh, that sucks, it's destroyed. But, like, we know why it is. Like, there's so many layers to this. And I think it's really interesting, too, that... I mean, jumping ahead too much, I guess. But, like, the episode just ends. Like, they just leave and it's just over. And it's like, okay. And I think that that's something that's really interesting, because you would expect there to be, like, more conclusion to, like, this universe, but maybe it'll come later in the series, but, like, not really. There's just, like, a fight and then they escape and then it's over.
Yeah, they just leave and Finn gets concussed to hell and back by
Well, hold on. Does anyone have anything to say about, like, the scarab human form? That happened.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen his balls yet, so we'll see how people thought about it.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
you have. He said he was going to incinerate them. Remember, he showed him with all the little pixel people inside.
He sure was a businessman. He kind of looked like an Ice King himself.
I wasn't going to mention that. I was going to mention how fucking terrifying his, like, true form is or whatever. And Shoes Goose is like, you got to give me something in return. He just, like, opens his face or whatever. I'm like, oh my God.
He has, like, an actual, like, mouth and eyes under there.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Terrifying.
But I just think it's funny that he put on a disguise to blend in with the locals, but he was still like, I gotta look as evil as I can.
I have to mention this before I forget, because it was such a like weirdly quick and like not acknowledged joke, but he like knocks on Finn's door and he's just like, sorry for calling so late. I'm like,
Yeah.
just like, what? I don't know, it was so funny. But back to when they first went, the soup that has simmered since their mom died. It's like, oh my God. And then, like, I don't know, I was like, I felt like I was in a fever dream, like, Cake petting Jake, because I was like, oh my God, it's Jake and Cake interacting. Imagine seeing this, like, 10 years ago. Like, the screenshots from this. I know it wasn't, like, actual Jake, but it was... It was
Fiona interacting with Finn, and it's Farmworld Finn.
I know.
That's absolutely insane. I still think, you know, as I said before, I didn't think Fiona and Finn would meet, and, like, I think they won't in terms of, like, regular universe Finn, but, man, this was, like, they just did it. It's, like, casual. It doesn't feel like a big deal in the episode, but it's, like, it kind of is when you think about it.
I don't know at this point. Like, I kind of feel like they might at least very quickly meet in, like, some ending part. Just, like, it feels like they're, like, maybe not. Like, I'm happy either way, but, like, yeah, it's wild. But, yeah,
So they go to the crater at nighttime, because Jay is meeting up with Lil Destiny secretly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say really fast. The first, like, the first meeting of Fiona and Finn, and then Cake just going, like, y'all should kiss. And it just switches scenes. That is such a good...
Yeah, and then that comes up again later. Cake is just a fan of self-cess.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Yeah. Cake, yeah, she's been really fun. I like her a lot.
This Finn was very different to our Finn. Not just because he has like 5 kids and a dead wife. And maybe 2 divorced wives after that. But also because, like, he was just so... He doesn't truck with magic, he said. Like, he's very anti-magic due to his own trauma with being possessed by the crown.
Oh my God, that one line was so wild to hear when he says, "You're a damn fool!" I was like, oh my God, Finn!
Yeah. I mean, he became like a folklore villain in the culture of Farmworld.
What, the snowman is what they called him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's, like, traumatized.
It's a scarecrow of him.
Did people know it was him, though?
I feel like they must have known.
Probably not. Because if they did, they'd probably angry mob destroy him or something, right? Like... I don't
Yeah,
know.
but he was just a kid. I mean, even in the modern times, he's living like secluded from the rest of the.
It's funny too, because from his perspective, he's probably like, "How the fuck did I even get cured?" It just kind of sucks.
His kids know that he found the crown, and he talked about where he found it, and they just looked where
When he
he
was
found
drunk
it.
one time, right?
Yeah,
said
they just looked where he found it, and they found it again because it had been evaporated by the nuke. But a piece of it still survived, and apparently gave one of these kids a deadly illness.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, Simon seems confident about it, and I guess he would know what he's talking about. But like, it's also just a post-apocalyptic Mad Max world. I feel like it's entirely feasible there could just be diseases going around.
I feel like she could just have radiation poisoning from hanging out in the site of a nuclear explosion.
True.
I took it as like, since it's like part of the ice magic, that it's like a really bad cold, like her body temperature is really lowered, so she's getting sick from that.
True, that's a good theory. I believe that now.
Like what happened to Marceline in Simon and Marcy.
Oh, is that why she was sick? Because she was cold?
Yeah.
I thought she was just sick.
She was cold because he was using his ice magic and messing around and showering her with it.
You blew my mind with that one.
I was just like, she's sick. That's about it. Yeah, no. So, yeah, on the topic of the ice gem that they have now, I'm like, now my theories are spiraling, because I'm like, well, Ice Thing is missing one of the gems. Is this going to be like, is getting all 3 gems gonna be like the end game for that, like, or like putting that last gem in Ice Thing's eye, and like what does that do?
You're right.
Well,
they could steal 1 gem from each dimension, though he has put it in the controller now.
Well, I just thought they were gonna have the 1 gem, and then like I don't know, Ice Thing is missing 1 specifically, and it's like, well, now they have 1 specifically. Is that a coincidence?
yeah, but it's still missing that one in the future.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but when you say in the future, are you talking about? Well, yeah, I guess the Lemon Hope stuff, right? Like, I guess that would chronologically definitely be after what's happening now. Yeah, because the Candy Kingdom's all futuristic. Okay, true. Okay, theory's dead. Dead on arrival. Move on, people. Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, there's a forbidden romance, and there's a big fight with the scarab, and Finn, dead? Question
That's
mark?
what I wrote. My
I think he is.
My note is, did Scarab kill Finn? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
I don't think he did, because if he did, then it would be more obvious, but he definitely messed him up.
I was gonna say, I think if he did kill him, like, since there's been so much blood, they would have been like, you know, like,
Yeah.
I feel like it was...
It could have been more clear.
Unless he comes back, I think it's just an intentional, like, what the fuck kind of thing, and we're just never supposed to know.
Yeah. Oh my god, Finn flamethrower
That's the thing,
arm?
if he is dead, what are his kids gonna do?
Yeah, I hope he's not dead. His kids will be orphaned.
What is Jake gonna do? Jake doesn't know what to do. He's just an old guy.
Jake's a 29-year-old dog. He doesn't give a shit.
I mean, more than that by now. Well, I guess. In dog years.
He's a 29-year-old normal dog.
Well, would the Farmworld Jake just live as long as the normal Jake, like the Ooh Jake? Would they all just have the same lifespan technically?
I mean, he looks way older.
So he's
than
gonna be like 50.
He looks
Listen,
way older than the normal Jake from the second episode.
I've probably talked about this like 15 times. They love to show Jake being so old and dying when Finn's young and spry. Every 2 seconds, okay? But in Dungeon Train, he stayed with Finn, and Finn was also an old man, and Jake was an old man. So obviously Jake can be living as long as old Finn. So why is he always dying and old before Finn? Why? I'm upset. Okay? Okay, thank you.
So, should we put an end to the first episode there? Final thoughts on that one?
Yeah, basically. The episode Destiny. That title's definitely referring to Lil Destiny, not Big Destiny, right?
Yeah.
Or just like in general, right?
Both of them.
Yeah, both of them. It's all encompassing.
Oh, we forgot one of the good lines. See, this is why I take notes. This is great. The they're like, Simon, like, help her, you're a doctor, right? He goes, I'm an antiquarian, damn it. I'm like, oh my god, I can't. Please bring Jake back for one scene in, like, normal form just to let him swear. I realize he's already been in it, but he did not swear.
Yeah.
So bring him back.
If anybody's gonna swear, it's gonna be him. But maybe he doesn't want to do it.
No, it's kind of funny because he used to yell at Finn. He was like, watch your language. So, like, he probably doesn't want to swear in front of Finn, which is really cute. So I like that better at the end.
Okay, yes, I think now we can move on to The Winter King, which, guys, it might just be my favorite episode yet.
Really?
Yes, this one was so good. It immediately
Really?
opens up with them entering the new world, with the new universe, and who other than Ice Prince saves them from their adversary.
Yes.
He's voiced by
Brian David Gilbert. The second he opened his mouth, I was like, I know that voice. Oh my god.
Okay, as someone who knows voices, I have no idea who that is. Help me.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either.
He's an internet funny man, okay?
Okay. Oh, okay. What does he do?
He used to make a series called Unraveled for Polygon, where he would make like silly video game theories and stuff, like more focusing on comedy.
Is he
than
the
on
guy
actually,
with the glasses?
Talking about video games.
Okay. Okay.
And now he's independent. And he makes like music and horror videos sometimes. He's really good.
Oh.
He made a Pokemon rap that has like 1,000 Pokemon in it.
Yeah.
Though he did cheat.
Well, good for him, because he did a great job. I liked his voice a lot.
I know, his voice works so well, too, for this version of Ice King that's, like, pretty cool on the surface, but there's something suspicious about him anyway.
Yeah, he's sus. He's too well adjusted. Simon sees it immediately and feels like ashamed that he's not like this Ice Prince character. He has a winter wonderland and he claims that he overcame the crown's power by sheer force of will.
Which I really like that idea. Like, I'm like, I never really thought about that. I'm always like, crown makes you crazy and turn into Ice King. But I'm like, oh, this character claims that their, like, will was so strong that they just were able to just use the crown power but just be normal. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, obviously
now, he
that's
was being cagey.
What
There's
happened?
no way. I never believed it for a second.
Yeah.
He was probably going to show Simon how to do what he did, though. But he wasn't going to explain what he did immediately.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a joke I forgot in last episode. Is it worth mentioning?
Go ahead.
Or is it over?
Go ahead.
Someone says to Fiona, I'd cut your nose off, but it looks like someone beat me to it.
Okay, actually, yeah, I forgot to write that down in my notes. I don't like that joke, honestly. It's kind of confusing. I was never a fan of the theory that, like, so sometimes people would say, like, oh, but what if because of the radiation and people got mutated and they actually don't have noses in the future? And I never liked that.
That wasn't just a theory, though. Pendleton Ward said that.
I still don't like it.
Really?
He said it on Form. He said it on Form Spring. He was asked, why doesn't Finn have a nose? And Penwell just responded, because of the radiation.
Okay, well, that's kind of like a joke response. But, like, Sideman doesn't have one either, you know? Like, it doesn't track.
I just thought it was just a funny little line. Like, I don't think about her not having a nose, but I'm like, oh yeah, in this universe, but it's funny, because you see they have nostrils.
Yeah.
Like, they literally show nostrils sometimes.
Us Adventure Time fans need to take everything seriously, because everything always comes back somehow.
It's like the joke about Krillin in Dragon Ball not having a nose and therefore being able to win a fight.
I just thought it was silly. I didn't know this would be such a controversial thing to talk about. That's okay. Anyway, sorry, back to the Ice Prince. First of all, the visuals were fucking gorgeous.
I mean, naturally for me, anything with snow is, like, awesome, but just the added layer of, like, obviously the big animation moment, and then also, like, the Gary and Marshall Lee stuff where, like, it's all snowy over the city at night and stuff like that.
Oh my god!
Like, come
on.
I wanted to talk about them
which,
so bad.
Of course, as we know it's snowing in Fiona World because Simon is experiencing that, is being in a cold
I didn't even think about that, because I'm stupid. That's so cool. But also, like, oh my god, I don't even remember. The Marshall Lee and Gary stuff is so I'm like, oh my god, this is so cute. Like, what did he say? Like, who are you? And he was like, who are you? I was like, oh. It's just like, I know where they end up, but it's still like, oh, this is nice. Like, it really does. It feels supernatural. I like it a lot. But the end of the song, and Cake being like, y'all should kiss again.
Don't think it hasn't occurred to me.
I love that shit so much.
Okay, but like, can we talk about like Betty and Marceline for a moment?
Sure. I have something to say about that, and I was going to maybe save it, but you go ahead.
Okay, so 2 things that are different about this Simon that we can already see before we find out more about him. First of all, he doesn't have any attachment to Betty, but he still knew her. He's like, oh, the dead one. And yes, Betty died in his universe because she never time traveled to the future with him, right? So I have 2 theories about that. First of all, maybe she didn't run away when he put his crown on, and things went really badly for them after that. But secondly, when he transferred the madness onto the PB, that also carried Ice King's obsession with princesses, ergo his obsession with Betty.
Oh yeah, that's a good theory.
So that's why Candy Queen was kidnapping him all the time.
But also, like, you could say part of the... Well, I was going to say you could say part of the madness was sadness, but I guess that's literally the other thing in the ground.
Yeah.
So I rescind that, yeah.
That is a good theory.
So, like, Marceline. Okay, so there's a little ice Marceline with actual Marceline's base.
Like, well, when Winter King was like, well, maybe when you get your powers back, you can make an Ice Betty. Just kidding. That would be unethical. He's such a hypocrite.
Yeah.
He's not a hypocrite. He was backtracking because he realised that the other Simon didn't like the idea.
He's also a hypocrite. Well, I guess you're right.
Yeah, he was backtracking. He was not a hypocrite. But it turns out that's his way of solving... It's very Princess Bubblegum of him, I have to admit. But that's his way of solving problems.
Well, yeah, of course it would be, because this is the episode where their roles are reversed.
Yeah, so Ice King's the one with a magic lab, and morally dubious in ways that PB never was, and apparently made an Ice Marceline to replace Marceline, either because... and she wasn't an adult Marceline, she was a baby Marceline, which implies either she died and he made a version of Marceline to replace her, which is based on the Marceline he remembers from their past, or she left him.
Yeah, I think it's much more likely that she just left him, because they don't put much of a point on it in the episode. You know, this is the Winter King. It's like if the Ice Kingdom was more like the Candy Kingdom in a lot of ways. But one thing that he's still similar to original Ice King with is that he's, like, alone. You know, he doesn't have only penguins to keep him company. He can make ice people. And I love the Ice Scouts, by the way. And Marceline is there, too. But, like, that's it. There's, like, 4 people in the entire kingdom.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like,
there was like a shot where he was like, "You can enjoy the whatever of the kingdom," and it was just like 4 people down there. It was just a big shot with 4 people in it.
Like, probably, you know, other people know what he did, and they don't want to hang out with him.
And, like, PB made an entire kingdom full of individuals. They're stupid, right? And she made them stupid on purpose. But they're still individuals. And you see, in parallel to this episode, they all have their individual little storylines. And that's part of the world that she's crafted as part of her own fantasy. But they can also act independently of her. Whether as soon as Ice Prince kicks the bucket, everyone in his kingdom dies. They were completely under his control. They were probably not really alive to begin with. It's hard to say.
I think they were. I mean, Ice King can just create life anyway out of ice and snow, so it's not too much of a stretch that he can still do that and make them smarter now that he is also smarter. But yeah, they are completely dependent on his magic.
Makes me wonder how... I guess PB's candy citizens were like their own people, but it makes me wonder how lonely she was in the earlier, you know... Because she's just like, this is my kingdom, I run it, and then it's like she makes all these people, but it's like, What about real friends, bro? I guess she already went through that arc though.
She was deeply lonely in the actual show. Like, you know,
she definitely didn't know it, right? But she was. She was very lonely. She even like understood it to an extent because she missed the mother gum and Neddy. Yeah. She couldn't get what she needed out of Neddy, that emotional support. He didn't need it, but she did. So like she created a family, but they weren't their individuals. She was still in charge because that's all she's ever known how to be. And then she made a candy kingdom that she could be in charge of without fear that they would turn on her. And every time she tried to diverge from this mentality and make smarter candy people, they ended up being fucking crazy. And part of that is her own fault because that after all, they're born from her own consciousness and her own abilities. But it's not until she has outside friendship like Finn and Marceline and Jake that she finds peace. And this version of Ice Prince doesn't have that. And this version of PB also doesn't really have that.
I just want to say that we all know you're our resident, like, PB knowledge woman. But, like, that was an extremely good, like, condensed entire explanation of, like, her whole character.
Yeah, it was.
I tried.
I forgot to mention this joke, which I thought was really fucking funny. The second Ice Prince gets there, Cake immediately takes the crown, is like, let's bounce. It just runs away, and none of them try to do anything. She just comes back. It was just so good.
That was so funny. Imagine if she got away with it and the Ice Kingdom just died there and then.
I mean, that's also such a Jake thing to do, you know, him and his little thief, his thief spree. I like it.
I want to mention a beat that seemed like it might be important, but, like, wasn't really, and that's when the Winter King gave Fiona an ice sword. It had like a design of the crown jewels on them that glowed when she started using it. I thought, oh, is this like a cursed sword, like the Blade of Grass? But then it's melted. It's gone by the end of the episode. So
did it melt?
Yeah, it melted. Oh. It reminded me of the ice sword from the first Fionna and Cake episode.
True.
That Ice Queen makes. But this one wasn't a trap. It just had, like, because Fiona is from a human world, she's lost all of her combat abilities. So, this was supposed to be, like, a sword that can fight for her. Like, having training mode on. But, like, it melted by the end of the episode, so she can't lean on that crutch forever. It's also fun, because this sword is in the intro, and Fiona's in her normal outfit in that part of the intro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I assumed, too. It was just, like, in auto fight mode, so it was just like that was just like an indication that it was AI or something, like it just fought for her.
Right, but I thought it might be more important than that because obviously the cursed grass sword was a big part of Finn's whole arc, and if Fiona getting something similar, I thought, oh, maybe we're doing something here, and then not really.
That would be cool.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
But we've already got a cursed crown. I think a cursed sword might be a bit much. As well as the fact that Fiona has a curse anyway. Like, okay. Yay! Can we finally talk about the best character?
Yes. Yes, please.
Candy Queen! Candy Queen shows up and she's voiced by Hynden Walsh, even though it doesn't sound like it.
Performance!
It's so good.
It's amazing. When she first showed up, I was like, there's no way that's Hynden, but it is.
Oh yeah, I thought that too. I was like, wait a minute.
And she's just like, she's so good at singing. Like, she kidnaps him, just like the Ice King kidnaps... And Ice Prince is like, yeah, this happens all the time. And you can see a board behind him in the prism of times kidnapped. And he's almost proud of it. Yeah. And you can tell why his behavior... You find out later why his behavior is so different to Princess Bubblegum about this whole situation. Because he made it this way.
Yeah. He, likes it this way. I don't know.
He likes it this way. He's like, nope, she doesn't need help. And the thing is, Simon can relate far more easily to this deranged Candy Queen than he can to the Ice Prince or the Winter King, who is another version of Simon Petrikov. Like, he can relate far more to the sheer mental illness of the Crown's curse than to this perfect, almost soulless Simon Petrikov.
Yeah, even just for me, like, as someone watching the show for so long, the fact that there is an episode where there are two Simons and they regularly call them both Simon is still like that's very surreal to me. Like because in the original series up until the end when he became pretty common, like anytime they mentioned Simon like in passing, I was like, huh, who? Simon lore? Like, but now it's just like, here's like an episode where there's two of them.
Just so good.
Yeah, the word Simon definitely like neuron activated me whenever I watched the show.
I was definitely curious about what people would be thinking about this Ice Prince episode. I didn't have issue with it, but I definitely kind of felt, I was like, this is like a wild episode with a lot of like cuts and stuff going on. I wonder if people will complain about that or if they'll enjoy it or if they'll like, if people will like the Princess Bubblegum thing or not. And well, you guys have proven that everybody liked it.
Yeah, but they made it... you reminded me of this now, because they made it work well together, because originally the Marshall Lee stuff just seems kind of disconnected from the Ice King stuff, but then they build up to this scene, right, where Prince Gumball is presenting his candy kingdom to the lemon cobs, which is what
Which was
Tree Trunks
so
used to call them.
cute, by the way, and also I love that.
Yeah, that's such a good idea.
It was so cute. This is what I mean by, like, this sort of storytelling. This is why Princess Bubblegum would be a dungeon master, because Prince Gumball had his entire family. It wasn't even, like, gender-bent versions of the characters. It was, like, the characters that he'd made stories for, just like Princess Bubblegum did in the Magical Land of Ooo. Massive parallel there, and you can sort of see from his mindset what would be her mindset when she created them.
Damn, how did 40 minutes ago Chan not think about that? That's really embarrassing. She literally lives...
I'm not D&D brained, though.
She lives world building. I feel like Marceline would be like a barbarian and just go, like, kill mode on everything.
Oh, absolutely. Marceline would, like, not listen, and people would be so frustrated. She'd be like, Marceline, investigate, roll perception already. And Marceline's like, nope, I roll attack the door. I want to see what's behind there. And she's like, there's a key, like, right underneath the table.
Yeah, she's like, I put a lot of thought into this puzzle, and you're just breaking doors down. And then Marceline just keeps rolling nat 20s, so she, like, sequence breaks the entire dungeon that way. Okay, I'll take this episode.
Okay, so listen, here's something about me. I'm a fan of evil women, and PB was already my favorite character in the show anyway, and now they do this to her. It's like they were aiming directly for my heart. I'm kind of sad she's gone by the end of the episode, even though I know that we'll never be revisiting this universe anyway, probably. It's just like, I just love Candy Queen a lot.
And the scene with Gumball, he's talking about the characters whilst you're watching Fiona, like, half murder them. They're still alive afterwards, but she commits gore to them.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh my god. She grabs the heart out of, like, Mr. Cupcake and, like, squeezes.
That was Cinnamon Bun, I think. Yeah.
It's Cinnamon
Bun.
And
I love that the heart was like a candy heart with a message on it.
Yeah.
With real blood. Well, maybe it wasn't blood. Yeah, the Gary stuff is so... I love the way they explain that, and also I'm like, that's unironically a good idea. I'd go to that place in real life. Like, oh my god, you get a discount because they're married? That's so cute. I love that. And it's great. And their whole relationship just felt really natural, and I'm happy that they did such a good job. It really
is like a coffee shop version of Gumby or Bubbling. Like I think Adam said that this isn't like how Bubbling met, but it's kind of similar to how maybe they did meet. Like with Gumball and Bonnie being super fixated on getting all the details and super passionate, whilst Marshall and Marceline just sort of wing it and do things. And it's funny how Marshall has all of these connections because of his rich mother. You can just make a phone call, and the lemon carbs show up in the middle of the night. And it's really funny how the lemon carbs have no relationship to Prince Gumball other than, like, being his superiors. This guy is always losing. Like, Butterscotch Butler and the lemon carbs are super famous, and he's, like, a fucking secondary cook in his store.
You keep calling him Prince Gumball, and I'm like, oh
Gary
yeah.
Prince.
Gary
Prince is his name.
Can I say I don't get the name he gave to his pastry thing. Like, is it a German word?
Candy Mansion?
It was like pastry mention. Is it a dimension
Pastry-
joke?
No, it's Pastry Mansion.
Pastry mansion. Really? Sure.
That's the name of like the project, or
Because
I'll get the subtitles. Hang on.
it's a play on Candy Castle. It's a pastry mansion.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just didn't. I didn't like understand what he was saying really.
I like how Candy Queen's song was legit very good.
Yeah,
Like, very good.
Oh yeah, both songs were.
And then she's
amazing.
like, and then Simon's like, Simon wants to see the good in her so bad.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, that's really sweet. And she's like,
It's not a metaphor.
not a metaphor. It's really funny.
Oh, okay, good news, guys. We got an amazing moment here. Tipsy is incorrect.
Yes,
Oh?
finally. Sorry, go ahead.
It is what Tulip was saying. It's some kind of
can you
German
type
word.
it out, please?
I'm sending it.
The pastry mention. It's German!
Maybe it means pastry mansion in German.
Let me have a look. That almost certainly means mention,
Pastry.
German word.
Mention. I'm also googling
No,
it.
it means people. It means people. They're the pastry people. Ah, they're the candy people.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's
I like
awesome.
your theory too, okay? I could see it.
Okay, to be fair, I don't speak German, so I wouldn't have noticed.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean none of
But
us
it's
do.
funny
So.
how he apparently uses German.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, consistent. That's really cute.
Again, just another thing. Like there's so many world building bits and pieces that they pull from every.
That's what I mean when I say
thing.
this series has so much love put into it. I'm like, oh my god. They're just little, oh my god. Just little things, little subtle things. Also, LSP was in the apartment.
Yeah.
He's in
Bring
the
me back
apartment.
something.
Even though, like, Marshall must have brought him there.
Yeah.
There's no other way that he'd just show up in the apartment otherwise, because Fiona doesn't even know him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I felt bad for Gary, but like he was right. Like he probably would have spent like years trying to perfect this recipe that he never would think was good enough. And if he did end up getting a meeting after he thought he perfected it, they would have still had the same reaction. So it's like it's better that he got this out of the way now, so he can just focus on other things.
Yeah, like, I think he just needs to find the right people to pitch his idea to, because it's obvious that the lemon carbs were never going to like something so cute.
Do you think Marshall is rich technically
Yeah.
because of?
I mean, yeah.
So like, is that the implication of like he's like, well, what do you need? And he was like, well, mostly a lot of money. I'm like, is he gonna pay for a bakery for him?
Oh gosh, he might. Like,
Well, it's just
he-
funny because Marshall like sneaks on the bus without paying when he has the money to do it.
Well, if he wanted to do that, then he'd probably have to, like, mend things up with his mom.
Yeah,
Yeah, like-
that's true.
He must have made no, because he wouldn't make a phone call to his mother for Fiona's sake, right? But he did make a phone call for his mother to help this guy that he just met,
Yeah, that's cute.
and he was willing to do that to help Gumball, to help Gary Prince. What a name, to fulfill his dream. Like, he was willing to do that, just call the lemon carbs in the middle of the night and do business stuff. And by the way, you may have noticed, but like, Abadia is implied to own, like, to be like a big business owner. Like, there's an advert in the bus for something called Abadia Vacuums, which is a
Yeah.
play on the ability to suck souls.
I think the lemon carb, like, when they were describing them and they just like tripped on a lemon, that shot was so funny. I don't know what it's because like the one who tripped did not even like attempt to like steady themselves. They just accepted they were tripping and just like I don't know. You get what I mean? They just fell
Yeah.
without any reaction
think-
and they just stayed there. So
I
funny.
think Jinx Monsoon's performance is a lot more fitting here than with the original Lemon Grab, who's way too recognizable.
Yeah.
For sure. But the thing is, it's Jinx Monsoon and Cree Summers, I think. Because I was surprised reading the credits to find out that the two lemon carbs and also the two ice scouts each had like different voice actors, which is so like unnecessary, but I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually. Okay, I have to finally talk about this. First of all, PB gets cured, and she's like, "Where are my candy citizens?"
Yeah, yeah.
And Cake's like,
Okay, well, hold
"We'll
on.
go find them."
First, let me just quickly say something I thought was funny. As the Candy Queen built a giant blender with a kill setting, like, even though she was planning on getting in it herself.
Yeah, for science.
But yeah, and then, of course, we can't skip over how PV got cured, and that's that Fiona touched the crown and made it not magical anymore.
That's what I was going to talk about. Is that what happened? Because I was like, is the implication like, oh, Simon found love, so the curse is cured? Like Simon found Betty?
No.
Question
I mean,
mark?
that's like
Or...
what PV said, because it kind of looks like that's what was happening. But no, it's because she touched the crown, like Cake touched that hot dog.
Oh yeah. Oh right. Yeah. Okay. Duh. Well, not duh, but also yeah, duh. Okay. Well, I was wondering I was like, wait, does that mean if like Simon finds Betty, then he fucking turns to dust? Is that the implication? So I'm glad to be wrong on that.
Well, that's what was going to happen, if you remember. Like, they had to use a loophole, because if they just destroyed the crown's magic, if they did something as simple as that, then Simon would die from old age. Betty's objective was to stop Simon from dying, whilst also removing the crown's magic. That was her goal. If she wanted to just remove the crown's magic, she could have done that from the get-go.
So, is the we came to this world and learned you can project the madness and stuff onto someone else? Is the implication that they're gonna like project? It's like, are they projecting that into Ice Thing even though it's already there? Like, are they gonna reuse that concept?
Like, I don't think so. I think he doesn't want to do anything like that ever.
Yeah, of course not. Because, he's suffered under that for 1,000 years. He doesn't want to put that on someone else.
I agree. I'm just like, is that like a one-off, this is what this character did? Or is like that actually going to lead somewhere somehow?
I think he doesn't want to be anything like that other Simon Petrikov either. So he would rather be like Ice King than to be like that Simon, even if that Simon isn't perfect ideal of Ice King.
Yeah, I don't know. Ice Thing is basically already Ice King, and it's like, would that even do anything if you projected anything onto that?
I think that would be an easy out.
Exactly, which I hope they don't do, which I don't think they will.
Like, I've been thinking about the projection of this series. Like, they said, oh, look, there's no drawbacks, and you have an example of a no drawbacks Ice King situation, but actually, was that even Simon Petrikov anymore? And I think that what's going to happen is they're going to find a way to separate the Fionna and Cake universe from Simon. And it's probably going to stay non-magical, I will be honest.
I do think that as well. I think, there's no other way the series can end, honestly. Because he's obviously not going to become Ice King again.
Yeah, this is a leaving the magic behind situation, where they're relying too much on magic. They're using it as a crutch. And you even see Fionna have her, moment of truth at the end of this episode, where she wasn't doing anything that Finn wouldn't have done in Adventure Time. In early Adventure Time. But she realised that in doing that stuff, she was causing harm to others. So maybe she's realising that this magical life of adventure isn't what it turns out to be. She still has all the responsibility that she would have in a normal human world. And all of the problems. I mean, look at Simon. He has the same problems as her, even though he lives in the magical dimension. So they need to work through those issues that they have with their own self-reckoning rather than use escapism. I can't see any other ending. If there is any other ending, like an early Adventure Time, everyone gets what they want ending, and you do have a magical world and Simon lives forever and stuff like that, it would feel really cheap. But we also haven't had payoff for that. Do I say that? Have you all seen the trailers?
Best not to.
No.
Okay, I won't say that, but there's some things...
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's some scenes in the trailer which we haven't had payoff for. There's at least one which is very important, I feel. So
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
so we will see the payoff to that and to everything else. And I think the only way that this can go is for Simon to is self-acceptance.
Sure, you can explain all that, but can you explain why there wasn't an entire episode dedicated to the baby world?
Oh my god! Yeah, I was
Can
like,
you
I
explain why
watched
Jake
it.
looked like a fucking freak instead of a cute
I was like,
bean?
Chan is going to be so upset if this is the only time we see young Finn and Jake.
Bro.
It can't be. He's in the intro. It's not just this.
Jake looked like a weird, like, human dog. I did not like it at all. We literally have a baby Jake in the main series. In First Investigation, he was perfectly fine, perfectly bean shaped.
Yeah, but this is like a parody of the elusive Adventure Time babies.
Which is so funny because I was going to mention that one of their original pitches for the comet was that the comet turned everyone into babies.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that too. Like, is this
What?
a reference to that?
What?
No, yeah, did you not know about that, Tipsy?
No. What? The
That was
comet
apparently
gonna-
like their original idea was that it was like a celebrated holiday that the comet would come and you'd all turn into babies for like a day or something.
Yeah.
And then they ended up turning it into like
I have not heard that.
How many times does the comet come and turn people into babies?
I mean, if they went with that plot where it was a holiday, probably once per year, but they decided to not do that.
I'm happy they didn't, but also that's so fucking funny at Adventure Time. Like, yeah, this is the day we all turn to babies. Hell yeah, let's do it.
I thought it was more of a reference to like how Adam Muto has had cold sweats in the middle of the night about the possibility of CN approving Adventure Time babies, because I suspect that he's pitched it at least once.
Well, there's also that, like, it might not just, like, it's like the classic, like, haha cartoon spin-off where they're all babies. Like, I'm sure it's like a multi-layered joke thing. But, like, baby lich. It just, also, like,
Yeah.
It was really cute, because even in that fucking world, they did world building. The Gumball Guardians were regular, so it's like, oh, the Gumball Guardians take care of them all.
You know,
Alright,
we
I guess.
didn't see baby Princess Bubblegum. Maybe she's the mother.
Oh my god.
I don't know how I feel
Jesus
about
Christ.
that.
Yeah, anyway.
That would be messed up.
Maybe next episode will be about that, you know? You never know. That'll be the whole
gosh.
episode.
I gotta say, I really like that PB was like, you know, Fiona, the brave knight, and then she kissed her like she used to with Finn in the early seasons. Like, I guess she's just like that.
I mean, Tipsy was right. She's going through the same things that, like, early seasons Finn had to go through. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. She's learning what it is to be a Finn, I suppose, or to be a Fiona in a magical world, and she's like a different person at this stage. It's the life that she always thought she wanted, but, like, how is it turning out for her?
It's about finding magic in life that you think isn't good enough for you, and then we'll all cry and clap. The end.
Well, they'll get 10 Emmys.
And also, it was really funny that PB was like, yeah, I'm trying not to dwell on it.
Yeah, for 100 years. Yeah, I'm trying not to dwell on it so casually. So funny.
Well, my cute citizens. We'll look for them.
That's such a good line. Oh my god. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the episode so much, because I did too, but I thought Tipsy hated them because...
I cannot believe you thought I would hate that episode. Like, you would have to tell me to shut up and... Like,
Truly, I'm surprised you like, because I thought that the Ice Prince one was really good, but I thought the pacing was a little weird, because I was like, we come right in, we get this big song, and then we come right into this other place, we get another song, and then it's over. I'm like, whoa, that was fast. I'm like, maybe people will be annoyed at that, but...
I mean, it's like simultaneously good and bad, because it's like, given the 11-minute episodes it had before, that's kind of how Adventure Time always was. So this was like a 30-minute version of like a normal episode.
I'm just surprised.
Because a lot of these episodes have been pretty like exposition-y, but I mean, that's a necessary thing, and it hasn't been bad. It's not to say that that's bad.
There was a specific line that I didn't mention, which made me actually go, why'd they do that? Like, I wish there was a little more self-awareness in it. But in the Farmworld episode, he goes like, that's not possible. Magic hasn't been around since the snowman was... I'm like, God, why did they do that exposition so on the nose there? I thought they were at least add a line like, "Yeah, man, I know. Why are you telling me?" There's something like that. But like, it was like, oh, it was just, that kind of storytelling always makes me upset. So I was disappointed, but it's fine. Just a little thing.
To be fair, it kind of demonstrates that the snowman is past tense. And
oh yeah, but I think they could have done that without being like, "Don't you remember? The snowman died, and then magic is gone now." But it's fine. I have to also mention
very, very Owl House writing.
Yeah.
I have to mention like Marceline, the ice version had the axe base, which is like, doesn't she not get that until she's an adult? Like in the main.
She got that from.
She got that
from Hudson.
Yeah. So, like, does that mean that
even
this version of Simon knew Hudson, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, because his past was the same up to 100 years ago.
Yeah.
It's always so vague, like, when exactly Marceline was alone and then Simon found her, like, when he met Hudson originally and all that stuff was never...
No, he never met Hudson.
He never met him.
He never met Hudson. Like, do you remember the episode in season 10 where we find out exactly what happened? Marceline, like, he did meet Hudson for like 2 seconds, but like when he left Marceline, he immediately went to summon Hudson, and then Hudson immediately went to find Marceline, and then Marceline ran away from Hudson. But
I completely forgot about that because
he's like some weird dude with glasses summoned me.
Yeah, and he gave her the family axe, which used to have a different handle. Marceline replaced the handle and turned it into a guitar.
I'm disappointed in you that you called it season 10. Just had to throw that out there.
Wow. Well, I still call the season before season 8, so it's like season 9 doesn't exist for me.
I'm only kidding. It's so hard to not call it season 10, because it's like, at this point, it's too fucking confusing to be like, well, actually, that was season 9, technically. It's like, you know what I mean? But, yeah, no.
I hate that they did that.
I completely forgot about that, so thanks for the reminder. Season 10 was a fever dream, because I was mostly having a mental breakdown about how the show was ending, so, like, I don't remember, like, any of it. I should definitely rewatch it. But yeah. But like, yeah, I guess that's what I was wondering. I was like, oh, I wonder when he got the axe base in this universe. Like, when would that happen? Does anyone know how that makes sense?
She got the axe base.
She died, and then he just made a kid version of her to replace the dead real.
I get that, but like, when did kid version Marceline get the axe base? I thought like
she didn't.
I mean, Marceline, as an adult vampire, could have come to visit him at any point and maybe just left it there. Like when he was regular Ice King or something. Who knows?
I thought that she... Yeah, I guess that. I think I'm thinking too hard.
I think the axe... No, I think the axe being there like has heavy implications that she died, though. Like, would she ever leave that behind?
Yeah, because it's not an ice axe base, it's the real one. They purposely were like,
well,
put the real
I don't actually think she would leave it behind. I think maybe it's more likely that the Winter King stole it because he like wants it to remember her by.
Maybe. But either way, Marceline would have grown up. She wouldn't be as young as the ice sculpture Marceline, even if she did die. So, Ice King deliberately chose that version of her because it's the one that he has the most fond memories with and the one who looked up to him the most.
And if she was alive when that happened, like, oh my god, she would hate him. Like, for putting the curse on her ex-GF.
That's true. Yeah.
And there'd be no Finn and Jake to help them reunite and all that.
Why?
Okay.
Alright, well that's all I have.
It's not. I've got one other thing, one other topic. I've got some questions and maybe theories about the timeline in the Winter King universe.
Mm-hmm.
So it had not occurred to me that, like, his obsession with Betty was, like, sort of included as part of the curse and was projected into PB. I think that's a very good theory. But what I was thinking when he seemed to not care very much about Betty was, like, where is she then? What happened to her? Because she probably isn't in the current timeline because... You know, Simon wouldn't have gotten Bella Noche'd and then open a time portal because that would have happened during the 100 years he was already the Winter King. Which means, did she actually die? Because original Simon obviously thought she died because she vanished, but that was because she left Simon for Simon in the future. But if she didn't time travel, then, I don't know, I kind of always liked the idea that if she didn't time travel, she would have stayed with Simon and like tried to help him.
She probably did, but then she probably died in the apocalypse.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe even if he protected her from dying in the apocalypse, she just died of old age at some point, not being magic and having no way to help, and then he just doesn't care about her anymore. Sad.
Which is like, it's super sad, and it's like, I'm like, whenever they're telling stories about these multiverses, I'm trying to like be like, okay, what are they implying about the main universe with this? And it's like, does Simon, like, would Simon not care about her anymore if X happened? And what does X even mean in the context of the main world? Like, I don't know. Are they just talking about like if he got his crown powers back, he'd forget Betty again? Is that what the parallel is there? Or...
I don't know. I think Tipsy's theory is a pretty good one, but
well, that's interesting. That's interesting, because he could never remember Betty when he had the crown on.
Right.
Yes. And this is something
like,
else that I have something to say about. But Chan, you go ahead.
I just feel like all the multiverse like things like that are so like they're written so intentionally that whenever they have details like that, I'm like, oh, okay, what are they talking about in the main thing? Like what kind of alternate, like, how does this manifest into Simon's fears? Like, if Simon gets the crown back, he's going to forget Betty again because he goes... I mean, I guess that's probably what it is. Maybe it's not as deep as I think it is. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, too.
So, when he's Ice King, he... they say it a lot in this series. He's pretty happy with his life. He doesn't, like, know that he's cursed, and he doesn't remember Betty. So... It's a bit strange that the Winter King said, through sheer force of will, I just decided not to be cursed anymore. And I have a little bit of theory about that, based on the fact that Candy Queen uses her candy elemental powers, like, a lot. And then she even does it after she became herself again, to give Fiona a little, like, lollipop badge. So I think perhaps there's a chance that the difference in this timeline is that Patient St. Pim was unfrozen earlier, and she, like, tried to get everyone, all the elementals, to use their powers and stuff, and maybe, like, introduced the idea to Ice King of projecting his curse in order to get PB to, like, be more elemental.
That is such an awesome theory, and I think that would make an awesome fanfic. I don't think that's what's happened. Personally, my interpretation was that because PB has been Ice King for so long, she just was able to use her elemental magic because she was programmed to believe that she has elemental magic. And she does.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think that it would explain, her using that when she didn't know how to use it in the past of the main timeline, and also the reason why Ice King projected his curse, which I don't think he would really want to do of his own volition anyway.
Oh, that's interesting. I guess that's true. It's like, what point does Ice King want to do that? If he's the Ice King that we knew, at what point does Ice King say, like, I'm going to project this? It's like, that wouldn't happen unless someone influenced him.
Exactly.
Probably, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It could also be, maybe, like, what if Galbetty is, like, running tests in alternate universes to, like, see how she can mess up Simon? I don't know.
Oh, gosh.
That's interesting too, actually. That's funny.
That doesn't, like, I don't think Betty would do that, because she already has an alive Simon, right? She doesn't need another one.
She doesn't need to, but, like, if she knows there are other Simons out there, she might want to try.
Yeah.
Does Prismo grant, is it one wish per person for your entire life? Like,
yeah.
Have we ever talked about...
Yeah.
That's how it works?
I assume it must be that.
Yeah, that's why Shelby wishes for a pony, and it's such a... Because Finn and Jake can't make another wish, so they get Shelby to make a wish, and Shelby wishes for a pony.
Do you think that Finn ever, like, went to Prismo to watch Jake in alternate universes after Jake died? I don't like that I said that.
That is messed up. Please never say that again.
I'm sorry. This is going to be my last podcast.
I feel like they didn't, because Prismo was also really messed up about Jake, and I doubt that they'd be able to be messed up about Jake in front of each other.
Oh yeah, for sure. Finn's like, must adventure, mathematical. Oh my god, adult Finn being like, math. It's so funny.
I definitely think we've not seen the last of Betty. I think Betty is looming large over this miniseries.
Oh, absolutely. If they didn't show
Absolutely.
Betty at all in this miniseries after this, I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, I'd be shocked for other reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is the last note I had about these episodes. I loved them.
Same.
Yeah, just great quirkiness from these episodes. Like it was so fun.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed the B plot too, because I was like, oh, maybe they'll be like, oh, they only included the Gary stuff because it's like fan service and it didn't have anything to do with whatever.
Would we say that?
You were so
Would
worried
a
that
specific
we were gonna-
fans?
We are fans. We are the ones who want the service.
I didn't think you guys would say that. I thought that other people might say that, like on the internet,
Well, they
which
might.
maybe they did. I'm afraid of the internet.
They might, but
I'm like-
they suck. They suck and should go up something else.
Yeah, I think most people won't say that because people, like, if they're gay, will be like, okay, I accept this because they are gay, whether or not it's unrelated to the main
It's
plot.
cute. It's cute.
It's wicked cute. It's like I said about back when we were watching Owl House. I made a point like that romance, like genuine, really cute romance, doesn't happen in cartoons. Like this is a new phenomenon because fanfic writers are the ones making the cartoons. So it's like us always headcanoning like all these things like, oh, what did like Princess Bubblegum and Marceline, like how'd they meet and stuff like that. And it's like, that stuff was never actually covered before. We made all that shit up. It was only recently where the people that liked thinking about that stuff started making the cartoons. So we get this really cute stuff like Amity's relationship development and this whole thing with Marshall Lee.
And like
all these very cute
Yeah,
direct
and people call it
romances.
fan service, but like, it's a TV show. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
appealing and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. It's supposed to be like it doesn't have to be like this is Adventure Time. I would be annoyed if it was like 100%. Oh yeah, the Fintress, yeah, the questionable Fintress child and a lot of people going feral in my and Jadam's inbox because of that. Yeah, that's annoying. But like it would be, it's fine for it to have like some hints. It's not like based on fan service. It's still telling a really good story around everything, and the quote unquote fan service is also good storytelling.
Yeah, and like I mean, this whole miniseries is fan service if you consider it's about Simon Petrikov.
Fionna and Cake.
But like,
Yeah.
It's Fionna and
Yeah,
Cake
but there's-
series. It's ultimate fan service.
it also makes me happy to see like a couple with two dudes because I feel like a lot of the representation is
Oh,
two women,
absolutely,
and I'm like,
absolutely.
oh my god, this is nice. It's really good.
yeah, we'll see if they kiss. But
They just need Cake to
I
show
love it.
up and be like,
yeah, exactly.
oh, here's my second big prediction of the series, other than young Finn stealing Fiona's backpack / remote, them chasing, and then them getting their personalities. You know my theory. Second theory, there's a third time that Fiona says the y'all should kiss line, except they actually do it. And it's
Yes.
Gary and Marshall Lee.
Yes, that's gonna happen.
They should do that y'all should kiss, but alright. They do it.
But one more thing about fan service too, because I feel like something that happened with Adventure Time was like the big season 6. Like season 6 is so fucking weird, and it's like almost anti fan service because it was like, oh my god, Finn's dad. And then Finn's dad shows up for one episode and he's an asshole, and it's not like this cute lore thing. It's just like a traumatizing event for Finn. And then the whole season is Finn having depression.
Yeah.
It's like, what fan wanted
Yeah.
that? None of
Which is
them.
funny, 'cause
but they
I'm like,
went
hell
with that
yeah.
because that was their idea, and it was great.
Yeah.
It
And
was
people-
great.
But people left the show because of that. That was around the time where people, whether it was because of advertising or because of Steven or whatever, people stopped watching. And now with Fionna and Cake coming back, I'm seeing a lot of people who, again, maybe they were just too young to be active online, to be a part of the fandom or what, but now the people watching Fionna and Cake, they accept everything that the show did,
Also,
and they understand it. Now.
I've seen people be like, I considered the show to get worse after X season, but I rewatched it because of the show, and I was just wrong. Like, people are realizing, like, oh wow, I don't know. It's all interesting.
Someone I saw someone on YouTube earlier claim that the show only got story because of executive meddling.
What?
What?
That's fun.
I saw someone claim that the show got story because of executive meddling, and also that's the reason regular show got worse. I've never seen regular show.
Me neither.
I mean, regular show didn't get worse either. Regular show does the same thing as Adventure Time, where like the first instance of it getting a story is like really cringe, like breakup romance stuff, like the same exact stuff that Finn goes through.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not.
It's not executive meddling. The executives hated this. The reason they've relegated the shows to bomb format is because they were like, we don't know what to do with this. We hate this. We're gonna do this because we think it'll work better. But then it didn't work better. It was terrible.
God, I hated it.
They had no
and now
idea.
we've got 2 more weeks of this, and I'm back to my hole of depression where Adventure Time isn't actively airing.
One more.
Or Heidi Hole.
One more thing.
Simon!
Sand! Twice!
What?
Yes,
He's
yes.
sand? What?
Why does this keep happening? We didn't talk about Simon's death, where he turned back into into Simon. Yeah, Winter King.
Yeah.
He turned back into Simon, had Tom Kenny's voice for a few moments, and grew really old in an instant,
That was
just
a
like in
fucking
Betty.
horrifying scene.
Yeah, and it's just like how Simon died in Infinity Train. It's just like what happened to him when he just got killed.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't get it.
Yeah, there's a character named Simon
it.
in Infinity Train who dies in the exact same way as that.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's just messed up, and I love how it broke Fiona's fantasy. It broke her out of it because her ice prince that she's been fantasizing about this whole time just died.
Yeah. By the way, also, the Scarab only got free from that ice prison, when everything was melting. In the episode before, when Simon said, and when I have my powers back, I'll be able to stop this guy. I thought maybe that was him being optimistic, because this is a god-level being. But no, actually, I guess he was just right. Ice King powers can just freeze that guy in place.
He's still just kind of a guy.
He was able to stop the Lich with the ground's power.
Yeah.
He was able to stop Lich PB.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's powerful and scary, that crown.
Did anyone else think it was funny when that one gang member was like, I'm gonna eat that cat, and then Fiona said, nobody eats cake? But it's nobody eats cake, you know?
That gang member was the little brother to Little Destiny.
I like Trauma John.
Trauma John.
Trauma John got
Trauma John is dead.
flamethrowered. Yeah, he's roasted. That was wild.
I love Finn showing up with his his completely unnecessary cowboy shroud and taking it off and just burning people to death.
Classic Finn.
I like. I'm scrolling Tumblr. Just reminded me. I like that Finn was wearing 2 hats.
Yes, he was wearing a trucker hat.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Okay. I think we're done now. How are you guys feeling?
Good.
Okay.
All right, then to close things off, once again, thank you, Chan, for making the music in the intro, and thank you, Tipsy, for drawing the thumbnail art. We'll see you later. That's all for now.
I didn't do anything.
Cheers.